Well, hello and welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show, guys, to this new episode of In This Together with me, your host. I'm here, as always. Always such a privilege and honor to have you here with me, right here on the spot. Thank you. So, what's in today? What's in it? Okay? Well, I had my mind wandering around for many days, many conversations with many different people, and they were sharing their journey, their future journeys and new trips, new adventures, new occupations, jobs, whatever. And still sometimes I feel that when I speak to someone, I cannot quite feel something that I would like to. Sometimes I found it really difficult to understand what's the purpose underpinning them. So I'm not just saying, oh no, since it's it's very fashionable, saying to have a purpose in life. I'm driven by a bigger and higher objective, a higher purpose in life. But we cannot just say, okay, well, I have a purpose in life. No. But I'm just saying, I kind of feel that I'm seeing way too much reactiveness instead of proactiveness. What do I mean by that? I mean that I come to, speak to people, and they come to me, and it seems like everything that happens in their life, and sometimes I have to be very honest with you, I had a period in my life in which I was very reactive, and then I tried to shift a little bit because I noticed it, and I noticed how badly my life was going in that route, so I had to readjust it. And at the same time, when I speak with many people, I hear constantly a lot of reactiveness. So basically, life is coming at you, and you're just a passenger. You're just a passenger of your own life, and you cannot have any control over. I know that the theme, the concept, the topic of control is especially complicated, so I'm not gonna say, okay, you have control over your life. You kinda have control over your life in some aspects, but of course, some you can't even imagine how they can evolve and how can develop. But at the same time, when you're just trying to adjusting your personality and your mindset towards a more proactive approach, so okay, I will not let the life just come at me, but I will just try to proactively go after it and try to build something. So if I know that I have to perform an activity, I will not just procrastinate till the last moment and see what happens. Let's see. And that's the real power of a proactive leader, for example. So proactive leaders tend to be a little more calmer, a little more relaxed, and they tend to be a better planner, and they tend to have, let's say, more control over the situations that are happening in that kind of moment. So right now, why exactly should you be more proactive in your life? Well, I would say just three main things today that could help you develop your proactivity towards your own life. And first of all, I would say that one of the most important features of proactiveness is planning. A little more planning in your life could be very rewardful. I'm not just saying, of course, you plan everything, because the obsessions are always a bad kind of thing, and there's always a bad kind of compromise. When you obsess over everything that goes right or wrong in life, that will for sure lead to stress and to greater dread, existential dread. So not planning everything in your life, but maybe a good chunk of your day, you should try to plan it ahead. And this kind of planning would help you even to relieve your stress, because you will feel, in that kind of way, you will feel much more in control over your own situations and your own actions throughout your day. So that's very important, huh? That's very important. But at the same time, I would suggest to keep it, let's say, keep a little chunk of your day, let's say for free of everything, free for you to use in whatever way you want. So, because life is good even because it happens sometimes. So planning everything, no bueno. Planning a really good part of your day is a very good idea, but at least with the remaining part, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever you want, to feel free to do whatever you want. So if in that kind of moment you don't want to perform a particular action that you scheduled ahead, but you want to read a book or watch a movie or have a run or meet a friend or have a very good conversation with your significant other, well, go ahead. Please do it, because that is incredible. But it's all the environment that you tried, all the setting that you set up before, that leads you and help you to get to that moment in a much more controlled and much more relaxed way, without all the stress or that kind of stress that really impairs your own life. Because in that moment, if you say, oh, I cannot watch a movie right now because I have to do this and that, and since I didn't plan ahead, I cannot have the possibility to do that, so, oh, I'm fucked. No. You planned ahead. You have discussed everything within yourself, so you have the possibility to have your free time, your spare time, with whoever you want, even if you want to stay alone or with other people. Do it. That's the first part. Well, the second tip in this kind of proactiveness masterclass is try to be prepared for adaptation. Life is constantly changing. Life is constantly changing day by day, day in and day out. So you have to be adaptive in this world. That's one of the greatest skills that you could ever learn in your life. Learn to being more adaptive to whatever setting you're gonna be in front. So for example, if it happens to you that you receive a great job offer, maybe elsewhere, so not in your country or even in another city throughout the globe, well, if you're not that quite adaptive to life, well, you will have a lot of difficulty just to objectively assess the situation, because you will be much more biased to want to remain in your place because you love your place, because you love your city, or maybe you will be biased in the opposite direction because you will be willing to move elsewhere as quick as you can, because you want to move elsewhere because you love traveling and so on and so forth. So the adaptive attitude is something really critical for your empowerment, for your self-empowerment, and that's a very good skill even for great leaders. Last but not least on this list of proactivity tips is always thinking long term. Always thinking long term. You cannot have clear goals, clear objectives if you're thinking about tomorrow. You have to think clearly to what's to come, what's the years to come, what are you planning. And that's why this last point is basically intertwined to the first one, the planning. Because of course, if you have time and if you are thinking about a strategy that will lead to a greater good afterwards, or to a greater occupation, or to a greater life in your view, if you have a vision, that's it, guys. Please remind of that. I know that sounds a little bit rhetorical, having a vision, a mission, values, ethics, whatever. But it is quite true. Because if you just have, I just want to do this, I just want to have like $500,000 in my bank account. Okay, that's a goal. That's a clear goal. But it's not the vision of your life. You cannot envision yourself just having $1 million, for example. That cannot be the vision of your life, the purpose of your life. It has to be much higher than that. So what's the cause? What's the cause that is really spurring you to keep going? What are the driving forces inside of you that are willing you to pursue something new every day, learn something new every day? You remember the topic that I discussed in the previous video. So the same is here. And thinking long term gives you that possibility, gives you that chance to really stop for a moment. As I always say, stop for a moment and thinking clearly about what are my objectives, my clear objectives. Maybe try, if you want to, if you're willing to, write them down. If you see that you have, like, okay, I want to do this, perform this activity, I have this money in my bank account, and I'll be much more rewarded if I had this kind of occupation, and maybe with all sorts of benefits correlated to that. Well, write them down and then always keep them in mind in the long run, not in the short run, because there are always gonna be drawbacks, setbacks, difficulties, really bad situation. You're gonna be through. You gotta be able in that kind of situation to stay afloat in a stormy sea. It's quite a daunting task. I can assure you that. But still, if you're having a clear vision for the future, well then you have at least half of your problems. It's gonna be solved, because you'll feel much more in control of your life, you'll feel much safer, and you'll feel that you have something new every day is coming, that is leading you, that is spurring you, that is pushing you towards something greater. And that's gonna be fuel to the fire, fuel to your motivation and drive. So guys, thank you very much for listening. If you're listening on Spotify and now even on Apple Podcast, or of course if you're watching here on the YouTube channel, please guys, of course, if you want to, and if you're enjoying this kind of videos, and if you're willing to comment with some of your thoughts and even suggesting some topics that you want to be covered, well, thank you very much, and just write them down and just subscribe to the channel, because of course I know that you're here with me, because I can feel it. It's not something that I can explain it to you, but I can feel all the love that you're sharing with me, all the love that you're spreading towards everything in social media, in person. It's amazing. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and see you in the next episode. Goodbye guys.